After having developed the first insulin therapy in 1921, Canadian physician Frederick Banting transferred his patent right to the University of Toronto for $1, stating that insulin belongs to the world, not to him. A century later, insulin medication remained essential in treating diabetes and relatively low production costs, while the bottle generally costing less than $6 to make. But how much? But how much cost? After having developed the first insulin therapy in 1921, Canadian physician Frederick Banting transferred his patent rights to the University of Toronto for $1, stating that insulin belongs to the world, not to him. A century later, insulin medication remained essential in treating diabetes and have relatively low production costs, with a vial generally costing less than $6 to make. But how much it costs a patient to buy varies greatly by country. Those in the US may pay certain for those in US may pay certain for insulin annually, on average 10 times more than those in many other countries, leading some patients to take less than prescribed. And this is much larger. And this is part of much larger trend. And this is part of much larger trend. Let's take a look at the US drug supply chain to understand why. First, there is a research and development which ranges widely in cost depending on the drug. Expenses incurred by many drugs. Expenses incurred by many drugs that don't make it to the market also need to be factored in here, and almost every approved drug has been subsidized by taxes. Of course, a pharmaceutical company actually releases a drug, and they set its price. Historically, they happen to be required to justify the pricing they land on. Pharmaceutical companies also Pharmaceutical companies are also allowed terms of drug patent protection and exclusivity rights that prevent other manufacturers from launching identical drugs for a set period of time. Once patent once patent expire, competition usually causes prices to drop. So compare some companies invest heavily to extend their patents. They may make tweaks, like small changes in dosage and mode of delivery, to obtain new patents and to competitors into delaying the release of the drugs. Into drain the release of similar drugs. The company responsible for Humira, the best-selling autoimmune drug, for example. The company is responsible for Humira, the best-selling autoimmune drug, for example, have defended its patent and raised its price. For example, have defended its patent and raised its price 77 times since 2003. Without insurance, it can cost over $96,000 a year. The three pharmaceutical companies have dominated the insulin market with similar tactics. Average insulin list prices have tripled over the last 2 decades. Once a drug is approved, there are two main distribution channels it can take. The retail route and include drug you pick up at pharmacies, and the other consists of drugs administered at hospitals and clinics. This includes many of the more expensive research-intensive therapies for rare conditions. Each channel involves unique businesses. Most drugs, including insulin, follow the retail channel. It starts with the pharmaceutical companies selling the drug to wholesalers, which buy in bulk and sell to pharmacies, which sell to the patients. But the US doesn't provide universal health care, so many Americans use health insurance. Where insured patients pick up the prescription, they also pay a portion, while pharmacy pay the insurer the rest. Pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs, which are companies unique to US market, negotiate on behalf of the insured to get discount from manufacturers in exchange for insurance coverage. PBM may pass some of the negotiated discount to insurers, but they may also take considerable portion. Their role tends to limit patient choice, and they sometimes come with more expensive branded drugs instead of cheaper generics because it earns them greater profits. Their roles tend to limit patient choice, and they sometimes compete more expensive branded drug instead of cheaper generics because it earns them a greater profit. Without insurance, patients may be expected to foot the bill entirely and no negotiated rates. Money flows between different businesses as fees, rebates, and discount and copy assistance. If it feels hard to follow, that's because it is. And it's tough to know exactly how much money it goes where because their transaction lack transparency. But insulin in 2018, of all that is spent on medication, manufacturers received about 46%, wholesaler got about 80%, pharmacies 20%, insurance companies 10%, and the PBMs 14%. Interestingly, as insulin list prices increased between 2014 and 2018, then amount, the amount of manufacturers retained decreased, and more than half went to intermediaries. Where the U.S. businesses negotiate the best steps, other countries generally government agencies evaluate their drugs benefit, make bulk purchases, and regulate pricing. The U.S. see the most drug development and profit. The U.S. see the most drug development and profits of any country, but about 1 in 4 Americans reported trouble affording prescription in 2019. Many experts have called for measures like increased regulation in drug pricing, patenting, and intermediary profits, along with more national health and research funding. This way, the U.S. could ideally lower pricing and encourage more innovative, life-saving drug development, and by making medication affordable, pharmaceutical companies could theoretically maintain profits. In 2023, one of the largest insulin manufacturers announced it would substantially decrease the drug's list price, and 2 others followed suit. This should make insulin more affordable, but system-wide changes would have to be instated to make sure patients are getting medication they need.